showtime! It's your boss, International Zone. Happy New Year. And since we're in the new year, I want to make a video about, in my opinion, the played out Passport Bros destinations for 2025. I think there's some places that countries and cities and countries that you should explore your options and stop going back to the same destination, the same city in these countries because it's getting played out. And I'll mention the reasons why it's getting played out, and I'll suggest you some options. I'm probably not going to be all done in one video. I'm going to use probably 4 countries, and we'll start with probably one of the number one countries, played out countries or played out cities in countries, Colombia. And the played out city is Medellin and also Cartagena. So let's talk a little bit about Colombia. The positives: beautiful weather, whether you like the heat and the sand in Cartagena, or whether you like I would say, city of eternal springs when it comes to Medellin, Colombia. That great weather, that altitude, and the Andes weather, where it's like all year round, somewhere between 70 and 80 degrees. They have beautiful, beautiful, beautiful women, which everybody knows. Affordable living, even though it has risen, it's still affordable, you know. And for the most part, I was renting an apartment there, a 1-bedroom for 1 year, was a little under $500 a month. As far as Medellin concerned, there are great food options, and there is international cuisine, although that option is more expensive than the normal traditional paisa dish. They do have good infrastructure in Medellin, so in Cartagena. So those are the good things. The bad things is that the prices have gone up, especially in Cartagena and in Medellin. The prices have gone up to places to stay, especially like Poblado, place like that, Boca Grande and those surrounding areas. The prices have gone up a lot. So much where in Medellin they have signs, gringo, go home. The locals are feeling misplaced who used to live in those type of neighborhoods. They feel like they can't afford it now because the people are Airbnb-ing their apartments and selling their apartments and building new construction that favors the foreigners or the foreigners' dollar or pound or euro. And the airport, the amount of visitors that have gone up in Colombia is over 222% in the last 4 or 5 years. So they recovered from COVID big time, and they're actually doing better than before COVID. So a lot of people started going after COVID. It was one of the places that was open during COVID. It was one of the places it was easy to get a CPR test. If that was, it's been so long, I don't remember. You could get a test there. Airbnbs were cheap. Everything was cheap. So I think, and people got some money, so people started traveling. Yes, YouTube gave a lot of exposure to Colombia, but I mean, just the growth of social media. We're in the information age, the digital age. So there's TikTok, there's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's OnlyFans, all these things that people have access to all over the world. But I know they like to blame it on the YouTubers. Listen, nobody's ever going to stop people from YouTubing. And if it wasn't for YouTube, a lot of you guys wouldn't even know how to travel. So, take the good with the bad. YouTubers have inspired people who have never been anywhere to travel. They've inspired people who maybe traveled a little, travel a lot. YouTubers have helped people know what to do when they get there, where to go, what to look out for, where to stay, where to party, or where the women, where the tourist attractions. So as much as people want to downplay what YouTubers have done a great thing with inspiring people to travel and giving free information. Okay. Now, when you go to Colombia, it's 2 hours. Doesn't matter if you're in Medellin, maybe it's a little light in Cartagena, and Bogota, 2 hours in immigration. That's how many visitors come. When you're inside the club, if you didn't know that you were in Colombia, you would think you might be in a popular club in a popular city and a Western. They're playing the music, that the women, the men are responding to the music. It's filled with a lot of foreigners. I mean, between the three clubs, the main clubs in Cartagena that you would go to in the old city, that would be Delirium, Space, and Doce Vida. It might be about 50 foreigners in each location, so it could easily be 100 people in each location, and 50 or half of the people are foreigners. A lot of black Americans or black Brits. But there's an influx of other type of travelers too, and you see it. So it's overcrowded now. Airbnbs are harder to come by, more expensive. The women notice the traveling. All the bad talk about women in the West have made the women in these places feel, oh, y'all coming over here for us because we're better. We look better, we dress better, we treat you guys better. Y'all should pay more. So that has backfired with all the bragging about how the women in the West are so bad and these women are so much better. The prices have gone up tremendously. But the main thing that makes it played out is the violence. People have been robbed at gunpoint in Colombia. People have been shot at gunpoint. And this is tourists. We know this happens in every city with the people who live in those countries and live in those cities. But the level of violence towards tourists is a pain in the neck. And what the consequences that the perpetrators are too small and too slim and far and few in between. And any given day you can find a video, especially with DC Born Rob, that someone else got drugged, someone else got unalived, someone got robbed at gunpoint. And just to add injury to insult, that there's a whole group of people who want to blame the victims. Oh, you not on point. Oh, y'all slipping. You got to keep your head on a swivel. Don't you think? And I was always one person. I'm lucky I've never been drugged, and I've tried to do my share of being on point and all that other mess. But at the end of the day, aren't you guys tired of worrying about getting drugged? Aren't you tired of looking out? I mean, you could walk away from your drink in Thailand and be fine. I've walked away and left my phone on my bike, went in the club and came back out, my phone was there. So that level of poverty, that level of griminess, you gotta be tired of that. That's the number one thing that's making Colombia just tiresome and played out. That they're still drugging people. They just caught this woman recently, and I think she unalived about 4 foreigners. That's not including the people she drugged and robbed. Who wants to worry about that? They're just not doing enough. And that's the number one thing that makes Colombia played out. A Cartagena in Medellin, where it probably happens the most, but it does happen in Cali. It has happened in Santa Marta. It has happened in Barranquilla. So what I would say, so I would say, okay, if you stuck on Colombia, I would say, okay, instead of overcrowding, Jettis Park and Clock Tower, I mean, you're going all the time, so you got to know some girls there. So why don't you just go to San Andreas? Try San Andreas out. a little more. Try Santa Marta out a little more. Have a girl meet you in these other cities, but leave Cartagena and Medellin alone. It's just played out, oversaturated, overrun, overpriced, and the tourists are underappreciated in my opinion. Now, options outside of Colombia that I would suggest. I recently went to Lima, Peru, and I would tell you, when you want the altitude, even though it's built on the desert, it has about 4 seasons, but when it's in a good season, it could be the equivalent of Medellin, being that it does have the infrastructure. Thank you. It does have the infrastructure. Beautiful high rises, great neighborhoods, Barranco, San Isidro. I can't remember the names, but you can get my guide to get the names. Beautiful neighborhoods, safe, walkable. Everything is built right on the cliffside, over the water. Did I say that the food in Lima, Peru surpasses the food in Colombia? There are no Colombian restaurants in Peru, but there are Peruvian restaurants in Colombia. Just wanted to add that. So food-wise, Peru also has them. They have great cities with beaches. If you want the beach life, they have the cities with the beaches. Beaches that look better than the beaches in Cartagena for sure. The beaches in Cartagena, Barranquilla, and Santa Marta is nothing to write home about. The beaches there are kind of, so they have Mancora, Punta Sal, Cerritos, Las Positas. So they have their beach towns. Sand looks better. They have surf towns. And they also have an area with black Peruvians. But in Peru, you are also going to find Venezuelans, Colombians, and Mexicans. And you're going to find more English-speaking people too. So if that's a challenge of yours as well, I found more English-speaking people in Lima, Peru in general than in Colombia, whether it be Cartagena or Medellin. The only place I could say that might be similar, more English-speaking people in Colombia would be the capital, Bogota. So I think maybe try Peru. Maybe try Lima, Peru as an option. But to me, Colombia has become played out for all of those reasons. And maybe there's some reasons that you can add. Now, if you solely travel for mongering, then maybe Lima, Peru wouldn't be enough for you. But they have that everywhere. Maybe not set up in the same way, but they have that everywhere. If you're an expat living in Colombia, it's a different story. You know, you decided to embrace the culture, you decided to embrace the challenges, and you live there. So I'm not necessarily talking about expats who live there, and I don't want you guys to get offended that I said that. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. Like I said, this is my opinions. I'm not saying I'm never going back to Colombia, but I always will explore my options. And I think you guys traveling should explore your options, because Colombia is getting played out, and that drugging is very, very tiresome, and it's almost to the point of ridiculousness. Like that woman who's caught and unallowed 4 people, she should get life in jail or the death sentence. You know, if the punishment for the crime is so high, it would deter them from committing the crime. So I'll continue with my top 4 played out countries for 2025, but this is part 1. Colombia is on the played out list for 2025, international zone. Peace.